it's really difficult for me to let
pause.
go. Oh crap! That's okay. We're gonna die.
It's okay, we're good.
All right. But yeah, I think that talking a little bit about myself, that's really difficult to let go. To just say that, oh, I should just let it go, and I should, try and strive to be a better person, or
That's the thing. It's just like, first of all, yes, it's very difficult. I wouldn't say that it's something that anyone should be able to just do at the drop of a hat. But I think, I'm not saying you should forget about it. I'm saying that it shouldn't be what you define yourself as. Like, you should define yourself by your positive attributes while still keeping in mind your negatives and your sordid past and history. Like, never forget, but don't let it define who you are. Because it's like, like, this is much smaller transgression, but let's say, like, I don't even know what to say. Let's say I got an F in a class.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to define myself as a failure because that was a part of my life at one point. I'm not going to forget that happened, and it certainly made me into... It was a part of what made me into who I am now. But moving forward, I choose not to see myself as a failure. I see myself as learning from that failure and then moving on. Just as if... I'm sure the Chinese people have done some atrocities. If we think of something. In any case.
Well, let's go into a more of like a harder example.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of goes into the topic of, let's say, rape. Someone gets raped.
Mm-hmm.
How do you move past that transgression against?
Are we talking about the assaulter or the assaultee?
Both, because that's one thing I wanted to make a distinction here. Also, is that's kind of what we're looking at here. Is that for me, I am the assaulter. For James, he's the assaultee.
Yeah.
So, even though neither one of us have actually personally gone through either.
Are we streaming?
Yeah, we're streaming.
Okay, we should probably just.
Yeah. Even though neither one of us have actually gone through the atrocity ourselves, we did not personally experience any of it. We are attributing those acts onto us, and I'm using the example of something that personally can happen to somebody, and then we're looking at being able to look past that. Actually, yeah. Let me take back that example.
We'll talk about something a little less.
Yeah, it's a little
charged.
Yes.
Let's.
The biggest thing I feel here is that for James, it's going to be a personal struggle.
Yeah. It's again, I want to make it clear. I'm not saying that it's easy. Or it's not a personal struggle.
For sure. And for me, even though it is something that I think about and it's something that can affect me more or less.
There's nothing in here.
Son of a bitch.
I'll save you some time.
All right, thank you. Even though it is something that I think about, I think I've come to a point in my life where it doesn't necessarily bother me. I think about it, and it does somewhat bother me, but not to a point where it actually will.
You have to do this one.
Oh, I do? Okay. I don't think it is something that actually will stunt me in any way. If anything, I will just find it very unfortunate, and the person that I'm dealing with who is projecting that onto me, I would just feel that it's unfortunate that that's the only way that they can see me as, and it's unfortunate that we can't have a civil relationship in any way.
It's actually, here, let me bring up something. I actually watched a TED Talk about the mother of one of the shooters at Columbine.
Uh-huh.
And how she's an advocate for mental health at this point.
Okay.
And suicide and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But for the longest time, she had to be her son's representative.
Mm-hmm.
She like people saw her and were just like, "You are the mother, like you are responsible for Columbine." It's just like, is that an appropriate thing to do?
Nah, I see.
Like, yeah, but
That's a hard one for me because I would be very in the middle about that.
like, sure, there's some responsibility to it, but then at the same time, she thought she was a good mother. She thought her son was happy at school and things like that. She didn't know all of these dark things that happened.
Mm.
And now she's taking steps to right those sort of wrongs in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Do we define her as the mother of? Do we define her as the mother of a shooter, or do we define her as a mental health advocate?
Mm. So that kind
I mean,
of
she's both. But
yeah.
like, do we choose? How do we choose to see her?
So I don't know how I would answer that for the greater question at hand. Personally, after reviewing, I don't know anything about her and what she's done and how actually genuine she is in pushing for it. But from what it sounds like she's pretty genuine about it. That actually brings up the idea of how our prison system works and everything, and how when we punish criminals, we punish them, but we don't teach them to correct themselves better for society. We just kind of
Why can't I lock onto this character? It's so frustrating.
I think it's because he's in the corner.
Yeah, that probably is a problem.
Like, I'm trying to do conceal blade, and then he goes the opposite direction.
Oh man.
Well, have you? Like, did you do what we told you before and like try not to hold?
Yeah, I did. He still went the opposite direction.
It could be that when you flicked it, because like I know sometimes with mine, when I let go, it like flicks enough that it just kind of goes backwards a little bit, so it goes the opposite direction. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I have a feeling that it might have just been weird targeting because he was stuck in the corner.
I think that probably is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, so the idea that when after we send some people to prison, they pay for their crimes, then they go back out into society and they do it all over again. And people think that once a criminal, always a criminal, but there's the new idea that maybe we need to actually be teaching these criminals to pay for their crime, but to correct themselves in prison rather than to just constantly treating them as criminals in prison. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're going to put someone in prison for 10, 15, 20 years and then expect them to just the day after you let them go to be able to do something other than be a prisoner, you're stupid, because that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
They don't have any other hard or soft skills, and they probably lost a lot of them being in prison for a really long amount of time.
Wrong button.
It's just not going to work. And to say that the prison system is actually going to make criminals better because they had time to think about their actions and be repentant, that's cool, but repentance isn't going to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And if you want them to not be in a position where they're going to do bad things again, then you want to give them some hard skills and you want to support them. Otherwise, there's no point in putting them in prison. But unless you're going to hold them there for the rest of their lives.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's kind of the point I'm trying to make, is that it's this idea of perception and perceiving people, and how we are constantly we're forcing people on, we're forcing a perspective on people, and it's not helpful for anybody.
This is like, okay. Yeah, how do you feel?
Hey Casey, retail blows. We hate it. We all hate it.
Well, I mean,
I love you.
Put it that way already, that I think the prison system does need to be reformed, because the way that it works is not conducive to the people that are in prison, whether they're African American, Caucasian, Asian, Latino, it doesn't matter. People that are in prison for an extended amount of time, and if they are, they're taken out of the work world. They're now branded as a criminal for the rest of their lives. They've lost all of their support networks. You've pretty much made them start from zero the second that they leave. And you're basically making it so that the easiest thing that they could possibly do is the only thing that they can do. And the easiest thing for a criminal to do is crime. So, yeah, they're going to be a criminal again because you've pretty much reduced all of their options to that. And you've given them no support network to do so. And there are people that would say that, oh, we shouldn't spend money in order to do that. But then why are we spending money to put them in there and put them in this situation in the first place? Might as well just kill them or put them in prison for the rest of their lives. It would be a more cost-effective thing. And I'm sure that there would be people that would advocate, yeah, we should just kill all the criminals. And then I would just be like, well, then you're an inhumane piece of shit. And you should feel bad. And you should stay bad.
Well, you shouldn't stay bad.
Stay in your little corner.
It's okay because we've apparently taken up the capital punishment for everything. So
capital punishment solves everything.
If they're bad, we can just kill them.
Well, I mean, if that were the case, then we wouldn't have prisons. If we felt like people weren't worth redeeming, we wouldn't spend so much money and so much time to try and do that.
Well, that's an interesting topic in itself. Like, do you think we have a penal system because we're looking to rehabilitate or because we're looking to be a humane society?
We're just trying to not inconvenience the people that are paying the bills.
Because, like, yeah, I agree, actually. In many cases, it's...
The only people that use the penal system are people that have been wronged or people that are being inconvenienced. So, a large portion of the people that use the penal system are people that are being inconvenienced. Are people that are using... the police, in example, like if they're trying to solve domestic disturbances or public disturbances or whatnot, these are just people that are being inconvenienced that don't want to deal with a certain situation themselves, so they try and bring in law enforcement to do that for them. And that in itself is sad and also not very conducive, considering that you are now using your privilege of having space, property, money, whatnot, to get rid of your problems through law enforcement rather than actual communication.
What?
Yeah.
Did Velvet yell at you so hard you're starting to hear voices now? I have a feeling something's wrong.
I think that it can be used for good, which is why it's used to help victims. But more often than not, it is abused in a way to handle situations that other people don't want to handle. Not that they can't handle, but they don't want to.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. A lot of our society is based on convenience, sadly.
Yeah, and there's many arguments that convenience is what causes most of our problems.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what prejudice is. Prejudice is literally just an easy mode of looking at somebody and deciding what they're possibly going to be before you even put the mental effort into figuring out who they are.
I agree, and that sort of loops back pretty elegantly to my first point, in that we don't define him by his atrocities, we define him by who he is.
No,
not
not my atrocities.
But that's how some people see it.
No, I know.
So yeah, like, it's a lot harder to get to know him and see like everything that he is and what his values are.
If you're stuck on that part.
And also,
But then,
and
like, I think to get rid of
I don't have any of that. I'm sorry. I'm all out of tact.
I think to get rid of like all the bigotry and biases and sexism and all those injustices, we can't be the same way. Like, we can't also do that to someone. Like, unfortunately, we're all flawed people. If you look hard enough on anyone, there's going to be some dirt on them.
Yeah.
But then, does that make them like any less of a person? Like, we should... I disagree. I think we should understand and recognize the things that they have done, but then treat them fairly based off of them as a whole package.
Right. Please tell me Kamana isn't dead.
We'll see.
I'm...
We'll see.
If you guys have been watching the last video, you can see that I was emotionally...
Do you like Kamana?
Yeah, I was very attached to Kamana. But that's mostly
Really?
because I work with kids.
Oh, that might be kind of unfortunate.
You're a douchebag.
No.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Oh,
I'm not spoiling anything.
She went through so much.
I'm just fucking with you.
This girl went through so much.
Yeah, she is.
Ate her mom too. Oh man.
Yeah,
she died.
It's okay. It's okay. She doesn't know that she ate her mom.
Yet.
Oh,
No,
man.
that's not necessarily yet. I actually don't know if they ever resolved it.
Oh man.
Anyways. Don't worry.
That's something that they don't bring up with her.
Don't worry. It's a story, man.
Why would you ever tell a little girl, oh, you ate your mom? She's never coming back because you killed her.
Maybe in like, maybe when she's like 18 or something.
You know, or maybe when she's like 14 and she's being a little brat, and then you just get really, really annoyed with her, and you just let it slip.
Fucking mom eater. What?
Yes, let's traumatize children. That sounds like a great idea.
She's not a child when she's 14. She's a teenager. That's when you gotta start like hitting them, and not that kind of hitting. But I mean like
Hitting them with reality,
Yeah.
with truth.
yeah. You can't baby.
Well, could you argue that hitting them with a belt is hitting them with reality?
No.
You could. I mean,
Is everyone going to hit you with a belt in reality?
not anymore.
Is
but
anyone going to physically abuse you because you don't agree with them?
sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. We know that those are bad people.
Yeah,
but
they are bad people. But does that mean that we shouldn't be prepared for them?
Okay.
I got to prepare you, man.
That was actually the thing. Like,
So-
there's a woman who took Taekwondo classes in order for self-defense, because she saw the world as being a more violent place. But then she actually got assaulted once, and she had no idea what the fuck to do, because she was learning like tournament Taekwondo. Never punch the face. Don't hit below the belt. Everyone's gonna be in this position. We're gonna square off like this. But it's like, that's not how someone assaults you. Someone assaults you when you're like, it's late at night.
Oh,
That's the actual headless.
fuck.
Okay.
We fought some guy.
Some guy.
Yeah.
Come on, Eleanor.
Yeah, it's just like the world is dirty, and we might actually want to.
Of course you did.
We might actually want to prepare our children to actually face.
I actually like Eleanor now.
You didn't like her before?
No, I didn't. She was an asshole.
Because
Oh my god, I hate this so much. I hate this kid so much. Ah.
She was going for headless knight on horseback. Whatever the case, we'll fight whoever we have to claim this island.
this is actually boss.
Okay.
All right.
True boss fight.
That's why I didn't.
Do anything?
That's why I didn't fucking miss the cards. All
Uh,
right, let's go.
Now I can't help but wonder how the horse is named.
What is that?
Doesn't mind.
Oh.
You mean the little red thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was mine that I made.
I was like, oh, I was hoping that was a special thing so I can get more.
Nope.
no.
Alright, let's lead him over here then.
No, this doesn't do enough damage. Don't worry about it. It's mostly just like an extra layer of peel in case something runs at me.
Okay.
And I have no business casting it in this fight, so don't worry about it. Ah,
I don't think I have very many normal attacks.
it's okay.
Most of my
So
things.
normal attacks are the only thing that works against this guy?
No, he's okay against fire and water too, but
Yeah.
he's weak to martials.
Okay. Oh, God.
You gotta watch yourself, James.
Hmm?
You only have one soul gauge right now. Go pick it up. Yeah.
Got 2, 3.
Whoa, what in the world?
Alright, 1. Anyone gonna take it?
Yeah. Ow, what the fuck?
Yeah, let me just get in front of him.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, are you serious? Come on.
sorry, I'm gonna heal myself.
I really hate my R2. Like, I really do.
Ah, jeez.
It's like timing a counter for an attack is so hard.
Well, I mean, I told you that the tricks.
Yeah, no, I know. But it's still really hard.
Thank you.
I was actually gonna heal myself, but then I was like,
What? I did it.
you counted?
Yeah. And it didn't work. I'm mad. So bad.
I mean, you've done it in the vacuum, right? Against
Ah, fucked up.
smaller enemies.
Alright, I gotta heal. After you, I guess.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'll just kite for now.
No, but you're a main damage dealer. You can't kite. I ain't gonna deal any damage.
Oops. Let's get rid of that. Sure. Okay, apparently that getting rid of the ad did not help.
He called for backup.
I was gonna
I
do that.
forgot. What's my mystic? How do I do mystic art again?
When you're in the middle of the combo, hold
L2.
L2.
Oh, well, too late.
If you have more than, I believe, 8
8?
hits,
I think it's 8, yeah.
8 hits, it'll do the level 2 Mystic Art.
That almost crushed her.
Venomization, all right. Definitely stronger than that headless lump of armor. I beg your pardon. Not you.
What?
The demon from the villa? No, look! It's absorbing the malevolence. It's a Therian.
Actually, that hawk is Griffin, my one and only friend.
Damn.
A damned Therian. So that's what Tabitha meant when she said we'd find out shortly. But your highness.
Well, anyways, any last thoughts for our last topic?
I said,
Any final thoughts? Anything you want to end on, or?
I think people are justified in feeling how they feel, but
changed.
that's not actually the appropriate way to behave if we're trying to better ourselves.
What are you plotting?
People
I have no
people are justified in like eye for an eye,
want Griffin to
and if I've been
Shouldn't be surprised. The
if
crown
I've been
is a
wronged
major
or
king.
I've wronged some,
He's gonna
or
do
yeah,
whatever he likes.
if someone has been a victim,
I
they're
suppose
fully
I am
justified
right.
in
But if I
feeling the
am,
way they are and
it's the first time I've ever been allowed a choice of
expecting
When you're a prince, you're not
things
a person.
to work out the way they
You're
want
an
it to work out.
institution
Mm-hmm.
But then
designed to serve the state and its people.
I don't think
Say,
That's
for instance, you are doing your lost
the best
and your
path to
back
go.
suddenly itches.
Okay.
What do you
James?
I mean, I'd scratch
mean-
it. Who wouldn't?
do? When I did that, my tutor.
I really don't have much more comment than what I've already stated.
Yeah.
The reason being that I prioritized a personal feeling.
I think,
that was to say my itch over my
I
studies
guess
in the
as
service of the state.
far as I go in this conversation, I pretty much said everything I can.
Griffin
Okay,
cling
that's
to
fine.
the skies,
Yeah.
let me imagine my own freedom.
I mean,
It was my lone solace.
my family has
But
certain
then
views
he turned
that
out to
I
be
don't
responsible
entirely
for
agree
his
with.
power.
I understand that.
And I respect them as people, but I like respectfully disagree.
Could we not?
Mhm.
The kingdom offers unequivocal support to shepherd
And
Artorias' vision
I
of reason and
don't-
will.
I try not to define them for some of their viewpoints.
Yeah.
It was seeing Griffin locked up and unable to fly. Never.
Yeah, and I try not to carry on that to how I treat other
tricked
people.
the exorcist on guard and disabled the barrier. But then Griffin
As
attacked the
justified as it
exorcist
is because your people fucked us
and
up.
killed him.
That's why you said you could never go back.
Just won't let it go.
I can overlook a single dead exorcist.
There's like entire books on this topic.
Yeah, I know, right?
Will engulf the
And we just summed it up in like
I knew full
Yeah.
well
an hour.
I was doing.
Hmm?
I couldn't watch my friend's life be stripped away.
What?
No,
No,
no.
we're just talking about like Japan did a lot of things during that time. But then, like, if you want to look at it now,
think that birds fly?
I mean, it's like a lot of it's just like a matter of perspective.
What do you mean?
Like, at the time, was
Birds
do you
fly.
believe
A bird that cannot fly is no bird at all.
the Japan as a country and like the people who were ordering those things to be done were thinking it was a bad thing and they were just doing it anyways because they were drunk with power, or do you think they were
But if you try to escape,
like
I'll kill you.
they felt justified in what they were doing?
This way we'll have him on hand if we ever need a hostage.
Well, I mean, it's
To-
hard to say, it's hard to say because you weren't there, but
Yeah, two.
like, do you think that they thought they were
Now that that's taken care of, let's
doing
build ourselves a
just
hideout.
like that's just how things were?
So, okay, so,
Level up.
I feel that they felt from what I've learned about the history, I feel that they felt they were justified. Whether they were or not is another question.
Well,
But-
it's sort of like history is written by the victor. So
Exactly.
I think if Japan and Germany had won, we'd be living in a very different world.
Very much so. But yeah, I feel that they felt it was justified. What I learned is that Japan felt screwed over by a lot of the colonial countries, especially back in after World War One, where they were trying their best to be considered a country like everyone else, and everyone else was colonizing everything. So there's like, hey, why can't we do that?
Yeah.
So that's why they felt that they deserved to build.
Do you think they felt like a lot of the surrounding territories was Japan and that had been taken from them?
No.
Okay.
I don't think that was the case. I think that they felt that that in order to be considered
You probably
a
wanna start talking to other people because
okay, in order to be considered a superpower or oh wow, it's kind of funny. The bubble is inside your head.
nice. Anyways,
No,
so
no, I
do
don't.
you think they were striving to be a bigger player on the field, and in order to do so, you had to do these things.
Exactly.
And that's just how things were done because
Otherwise, it gets swallowed up by America or China or.
Try to assassinate a ship.
well,
No, at the time, like Britain.
it was mostly Britain.
Britain
Europe.
and the U.S. and yeah, but mostly Europe. Yeah, France, Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kill or be killed.
Pretty much. And even though they were technically given a seat on the
Whoa. To me, they're both connected.
Versailles, was the whole thing called.
The chords?
I can tell
Treaty of Versailles.
There you go. Yes, the Treaty of is it Versailles?
I think it's Versailles.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Anyways, yeah. So,
19.
what? You're 19?
she's 19. She can't drink, man.
Well, at least she's legal. But anyways, so
What do
Yeah, and again, not to justify what they did.
I'm not trying to justify or not justify.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about like the context as to
Yeah,
what it is. 'Cause
yeah.
Maybe
I don't believe Japan was as like malicious as the people on the receiving end felt they were.
Mm-hmm.
Like they probably felt like this is how the world is, and we're currently the one in power. So
Mm-hmm.
In order to stay in power, we gotta get more power.
But I mean, like, what happened in Nanking and everything. Like I mean that was just a straight up atrocity. There is no excuse for what happened there. I don't think.
well, I think it's a lot of it is because
No, sorry.
that's
I was
where
having a
we've
meeting
come
with
to
Tenouraku
as
and the crew about our
as
search
like
for
humanity.
Ah.
We see as like those are injustices, but like 4,000, 6,000, 8,000 years ago,
Yeah.
it's like yeah, if a bear ate you, that's an atrocity, but that's just how nature works.
True.
Like
Still don't have any decent leads.
We're not gonna kill all bears.
it's like the strong
And who better
the
to
strong
you?
the strong stand over and take from the
I'm
weak.
still acting out of self-interest. Besides,
Like
Ifrit won't die
we
so
don't
easily.
subscribe to that anymore
Mm.
because we find
Yeah.
as a people
Never seen him
we
flinch
find
from
that
scorn,
a
no matter how choppy the sea is.
unpalatable worldview.
Yeah.
It doesn't help us
Probably some of
Yeah.
because what we don't need is strength as much as we need all the skills of everyone.
Well,
we can't
that's
do.
that's how some of us see it.
Yeah.
Some people don't see it that way.
Right.
And are they any less justified or more justified in their viewpoints?
too busy to spare any time
I
worrying
mean,
about
it's easy to
anyone
say,
else.
yeah, it's better to be humane. But
Right. I'm
like,
busy being
who are we to say that that's the best way?
It's simple. When you have free time,
I know,
it means
I
you're
know I'm
busy
playing a
trying
lot of
to
devil's
avoid
advocate
having
right
any
now, but
I mean, that's fine. There are a lot of people that say that that's PC culture. That's trying to appease all these people that don't have to. They're the lower race, or they're the lesser beings. We should not have to appease them.
well, we don't even necessarily have to go into like nationalism or like.
Well, I mean, but that's
peer-
the basis
like-
of nationalism.
It can, but it could also lead to capitalism, where the savvy and the more savvy and the more fit businessman is the one that succeeds. The weaker businessman is the one that fails. And God knows how much praise the school system has lumped onto capitalism, which I also have some problems with, but like is the strong are better than the weak something that we want to throw out completely?
Wait, is that one?
Is the strong will prevail over the weak something that we want to discredit entirely at this point?
Well, it's not something we can discredit, but is it valid? Is it something that you can say without contradiction? Because in some cases, that's not true.
In what way?
How's that?
Are we talking about physical strength, mental strength?
I'm talking about as a package, because I think the strong versus the weak, like humans prevailed over nature in many respects because we are stronger as a package. Sure, we're weaker physically, but our mental strength overcame the physical strength. Like when people say the strong versus the weak, they're not talking about like who has the bigger muscle. Sure, that could be a thing. Like if I was stranded in the woods, the bear is probably going to beat me. But you probably don't want to, or I guess you can come. I forget exactly where everyone is.
Oh, we're just
Okay,
looking.
so it is here.
What do you know?
But yeah, like at this point, I guess strong isn't the best word. The fit. We're getting into evolution now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're arguing semantics, honestly. So
Yeah, but like the very basis of it was that for a long time, and even still now, less now because world powers are big enough and information flows freely enough that we're essentially in like power gridlock. where none of the superpowers really want to fight large scale wars because.
Oh, you realize that you're people.
Because like.
Well,
Oh yeah, she's becoming.
what?
She's understanding the.
What?
So she's lost her bigotry. Oh my goodness.
She's working
Now
on
when
it.
you
It's a work in
say
progress.
You know,
Oh, you actually have
we
feelings.
can't say that for sure because maybe if another demon comes up, she might still act the exact
That's the
same
thing.
way.
That's the thing. Is like I'm not saying demons are bad, but this one is trying to eat my face, so I'm going to kill it.
Actually, I read an interesting article in Scientific America talking about how we should stop calling it, or actually even past the 1970s, we can't call it mutually assured destruction anymore. It's shit, what was the word? Started with an S. But either way, what they've discovered or what they've researched is that if even a single superpower were able to launch all of their nukes unretaliated, it would still fuck up the planet really badly.
Of course. Just like crazy nuclear fallout.
Yeah. So it's like it's no longer mutually assured. It's just like it's someone does it, we're all fucked.
Yeah. Well, that's a big reason why we're not launching all the nukes.
Yeah, but for some reason we're also not disarming any of them.
Well, because if we don't, then
don't
we
trust
don't.
each other.
Because like it's not even so much that we're trying to avoid mass destruction. It's just like I still have the trigger.
Yeah,
to
no.
also blow up. It's like if there was a bomb in the middle of the room right now, and we all had a trigger for it. We all want to have our own trigger, so we could be like, no, I'm gonna fucking.
No, I know. I think I don't think that's how they look at it. I think they look at it as more like if everyone had a gun. It's like how can
I
I
want to have a gun too.
exactly? How can I trust that you're gonna put your gun down if I put my gun down?
Yeah, because like the only reason we would all disarm the bombs is because either A, we came to like some agreement for whatever purpose. Like if we all disarm our nukes, then we can get past this impasse.
You're turning your back on Artorias?
Or two, we actually get to a society where we all just don't want to kill each other. Which I'm pretty sure the first one's gonna happen first.
If we don't kill each other.
No, because like I think it's naive to deny human nature in that we want to be better. We want to be better than our peers. And that often leads to disagreement and violence.
Or we can just kill all the lesser races and we'll just be one.
No, because then we're just gonna find other finer minutia to disagree about.
It's like, oh, you're 30% Aryan.
Yeah.
You have to get rid of you.
Your genes are slightly off.
Yeah.
You're Aryan, but you're not super Aryan.
Yeah. Only the purest of pure can ever be
Whatever.
this.
Like, what if, like, it's not even like that. What if all the Chinese killed off all the white people? Then the Chinese, well, it's well known the Chinese hate itself.
Or
Yeah.
the Han Chinese decided to kill all of the other groups of Chinese or minority groups within China because they do have that. I mean, Han Chinese take up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they take up.
There's
I think-
fucking like 1.5 billion of us. There's going to be
Yeah,
sex.
Yeah, no, I know.
and well, what I found is that the Han Chinese or the main ethnic group, the Han Chinese, they actually institute this kind of racism within China, where people who are not the main Chinese ethnic group are treated like they're not really Chinese and that they should be kicked out of the country. But in all actuality, they're just as Chinese as everyone else. It's just that China. Well, they're
Like, what is just as Chinese?
well the general identity of China is that the Han Chinese is that that's what they assume
Let's go.
China is. But
But aren't we trying to defeat the Huns?
Han Chinese, not
The Huns are
Han.
more north.
I'm just.
And they,
I'm
and,
being-
and they attacked us and they became Chinese. So,
Damn. They sound like Tyranids. Or Zerg.
We're just that big. Like,
Yeah, if you look back at history, the Huns, they took over. Yeah, they took over China, and for a whole dynasty, they were. I don't think it was Genghis. No, it was another.
yeah, no, the Mongolians definitely came in. They raided and they took over for a while, but
Yeah.
then over time they just became
They lost.
they won the war, but they like lost culturally.
Mhm.
Are we still going back in?
Maximum security cell,
Oh, okay, got it.
wherever that is.
Yeah, because basically there's a bunch of ley lines.
Alright.
And Laphicet can feel them, so he's gonna go to where one of the ley lines was strongest, which was the cell, because that's where all the nexuses are. Is where they put the Therians. Just because they fucking put. You want to go back?
Oh, that's why.
So that's where
Go
Velvet
down.
was.
Yeah, they put Velvet there because she's a Therian, and they needed Therians at the nexuses.
She's actually a Therian.
No,
What?
no, are you?
She's not a demon.
She is a demon.
There's a difference.
No, a Therian is a subclass of demon.
Okay.
It's like
No.
humans are a subset of animals.
No. Damon.
No, it's demon.
Damon.
The pronunciation of AE is just E.
Damon.
Damon. Alright, whatever.
Unless you put like an accent there, you can.
Yeah.
Demon.
Like, right. The Damons.
The demons are coming after us.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
How did we get out of this?
I have no idea.
We're talking about like freaking Japan.
Well, it's the same thing. I would assume that the Japanese felt that they were the superior
Oh, absolutely.
group,
Mm.
and that's why
That's sort of like what pride and nationalism taken to the extreme becomes that.
Yeah.
Because the Japanese were fully in belief that they were like the better, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, against who?
Non-Japanese.
I guess.
you look
Unless,
at their.
correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I'd like to believe that they didn't, but I don't know. So that's
From what I understand, I mean, that's just like as a whole. I'm sure there's plenty of people who are more level-headed,
And
but
Illuminat is using those points to acquire malevolence and reawaken himself.
I mean, to an extent, every country thinks that they're the best.
Once you're
Yeah.
close enough,
I don't know. I think America kind of takes it a little further.
There are
We don't take
definitely
it that far enough.
there are definitely countries in
Maybe-
the world that take it to a whole new extreme. For example, North Korea.
Well.
North Korea is a bit higher than the United States.
I
of
want to
America.
believe that North Korea is just a giant social experiment.
Still, it'll give us something.
How would that be any better?
I'm not saying it's better. I'm just saying that I want to believe that he doesn't actually think that he's like God Emperor and all that stuff.
So he's actually really smart?
He's just like
sleep at night.
he's just like playing the part to be like, what if we did this to a whole entire country of people?
Oh man.
What if we constructed just like we put these people in such a hardcore bubble? Could we like? Can we train an entire country to behave and believe a certain thing? And to an extent, they succeeded.
Yeah. No, they have.
Until people decided that they want to leave.
Well, yeah, because
But
then
the
they started
majority-
getting like little tidbits of what the outside world was like, and also the starvation and stuff like that.
You know, starvation kind of poses a
Yeah,
problem.
Or the things where like if you have any like minor transgressions, you get sent to fucking labor camps.
Right. Like taking a fucking flag from a hotel.
Yeah.
15 years hard labor.
Yeah. So those probably added to the flight, the desire to leave. But also when I believe when they started like getting news of the outside world, they started realizing like, oh, we're not actually living this like utopia. Like, other countries have other models, and they probably look better than we are right now because they don't have people starving in the street.
Yep.
Or if they do, it's not nearly as much.
Yeah.
So
This is true.
Again. Still not good enough. You think it's your swords that are weak. You don't think maybe your body's just stupid tough? No. If it can't cut me, it's just not good enough. I need stronger materials to make a better sword.
I like how we've like accrued
Love to try orichalcum.
a lot more people
That stuff is next to
in this band of
yeah.
like I did not expect that. I thought we were trying to keep things very tight knit, and
No man, we got Aizen. He has a fucking pirate crew.
The metal myself, but I've never even heard of it.
If you're gonna topple a government, you need a little more than a motley crew.
I don't think that's the goal. I think the goal is just to kill Arterius. That's really it.
That's her goal. But he wants to kill Shigure. You fucking Eleanor now
treasure at the bottom
has shifting motives.
that would stir any sailor's heart.
In any case,
We knew where to find it. Could it be salvaged?
it's not that many people.
The ship's crew drowned.
I don't know,
You
man.
need people to do back-end logistics.
It's a centuries old war.
That's what the random shops that you visit as you level up are for.
Right.
I'm sure there's other material we can use.
Anyways,
But yes, let's talk about something a little
a little lighter.
lighter than
What are we talking about?
Even Dial's getting angry.
Oh, I that's what I wanted to talk about. So
I like seeing the secondary.
It's getting weird.
The what?
I kind of like how they interact with each other.
Oh yeah, it's a JRPG.
Yeah.
If they didn't have this, then it would just be
Pulse point about as big as the one here.
bland,
Let's start
Yeah.
with the from there.
it would just be like a fighting simulator.
pretty much. A dungeon crawler.
Yeah.
Got it.
I've been trying to find a good dungeon crawler to replace, or just to have. I need a good like Diablo-esque kind of game.
That's Exile.
It's not quite like there's the new 2D roguelike called Dead Cells.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I played it yesterday. It's pretty good.
Okay.
I mean, it's alpha, so
Oh.
like, content-wise, it's not finished, but like it's a solid game as it is now.
Okay. Oh, I have to check that out. But no, I want like
The first mate told me we're going to be looking for
I want
Loot
isometric
Fest?
loot fest. Yes.
Isometric Loot Fest.
Yeah.
you wanted to
Well,
But like, I really want to play. What is that Korean game? It's like Arc something. To Arc. I don't fucking remember, but it looks really cool. It looks really pretty.
uh,
This is the Earth Pulse point.
what about Path to Exile?
Water as far as the eye can see. Is your Earth Pulse point down below?
Because I hear that that's like the new Diablo.
Yeah, well, it's not really. It's been around for a while now, and people. I mean, like people have been talking about that for some time, and everyone has said it's a good game, and it looks like a good game.
You can play Cookie Clicker.
Sorry, everyone.
hold on. We've seen it.
What?
You don't think you're
What is that?
You know what Cookie Clicker is?
A point.
What
I think I have just
is Cookie Clicker?
It's a browser game.
You do?
You click a cookie and you get cookies.
What?
How does that work?
You get cookies.
No,
So there's a
how
cookie-
does that make Diablo and Cookie Cutter
Because
the
it's
same?
the purest distillation of Loot Fest. It's like do action, get loot. Do action, get loot.
Pretty
and
much.
Then you get 15 cookies, and then you can buy a cursor, which clicks for you once every 10 seconds. And then you keep clicking, and then at 100, you can get a grandma, which makes 1 cookie a second.
I'm
And then you
Okay.
keep clicking, and you keep clicking, and you get upgrades, which double the amount of cookies you get per click.
This is a very
And eventually, you start getting shit like factories, or shipments, or nether portals,
Nether portals.
or prisms, and then you get all these upgrades. You start doubling. You start getting like hundreds of thousands, millions, billions cookies per second, and then you start the Grandma Apocalypse, where the grandmas go feral and they start making even more cookies, and then you get the withers to come, and the withers will start eating your cookie, but then you find out that when you pop withers, they multiply cookies. It's actually a good thing. And then you keep going. No, I'm serious. This is all
How
shit.
far have you gone in this game?
It's not that far. Actually.
Oh, okay.
Like it's because it's a passive game. You
Uh,
can play actively or passively, but it keeps going, and then at a certain point, you decide that you've gotten enough heavenly chips, so you transcend. So you go into the meta universe.
Heavenly chips.
You go into the meta universe and you get permanent upgrades from beyond, and you come back with your further multiplier and you start all over again. Except this time you have 10 times cookie production.
oh
You
man,
keep going.
it sounds pretty much. Yeah.
It's the purest of loot time wasting.
You're right. You're right. I think that sounds exactly what it is.
It's a thing that people do at work because you're just like working, and then you like look at what you are and you like buy some things and you go back to what you're doing. 'Cause
Okay.
You like don't have to do anything, or you could, because sometimes golden cookies appear, and if you click them, you get huge benefits.
I feel like at that point I'd rather play Eve.
With Eve, you have to like
That's right. You remind
do
me
more.
of him as all.
Okay, so if you don't like Cookie Clicker, you can play Waifu Clicker.
That's it.
You click and you get waifus.
I think that sounds better. I'm down for that. I'm down for game of waifus.
There's like it's fucking a billion different
Is that so
versions of that kind of game.
Yeah. Don't they have a Sakura clicker? It's like based in the,
Yeah.
the Sakura world. Yeah.